Joining us right now is Delaware Senator Chris Coons, who is a member of the Senate Small Business and Entrepreneurship Committee. Senator, good morning to you. Nice to have you joining us from your house this morning.
Good morning, Steve. Great to be on with you. I hope you had a wonderful Easter.
It was okay, considering the circumstances we're all going through right now. Senator, what is going on with the Senate? It was different. With the Republicans, they're just looking for another $250 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program. A clean bill. Just give us the money, we'll continue it. However, the Democrats are asking for some add-ons, like $100 billion for health care providers, $150 billion for state and local governments, and a 15% increase in food stamps. At such a perilous time, why ask for the add-ons now?
Well, Steve, two things. Since we're not going to return to Congress this week or next week or perhaps anytime soon, this bill has to pass both the Senate and the House by unanimous consent. I support and Democrats support increased funding for small business, but it's got to also go to the emergency disaster loans, the EIDL loans that do not have enough resources to get out the door. And we also have to make sure that these loans are going to lots of small businesses and small nonprofits, even those that don't have an existing depository relationship with one of the major banks. But frankly, Steve, we're in both a public health disaster, this pandemic, and an economic disaster, and we need to address both. Most states, most hospitals are seeing record shortfalls. We should be doing both, providing support for our health systems and our states and providing support for small business. I'm very hopeful we're going to work this out within the next few days.
Well, that would be great if they could work it out. And you know, people love to see things happen on a bipartisan basis. But, you know, if there's ever a time where suddenly it looks like one party is trying to push their agenda, the American people at a time of crisis like this are going, that's why we hate Washington.
Steve, I'll remind you that the CARES Act, the last very large stimulus bill that we passed, ultimately passed unanimously. That means literally every single senator who was present to vote did vote for it. But that was after several days of disagreement about exactly what should be in that package. Ultimately, it included resources for large businesses, small businesses, the health system, hospitals, and for our state and local governments. I think we ought to follow that same pattern here, and you'll see it'll enjoy unanimous support again.
Well, it sounds, Senator, then you're confident that it will pass on a bipartisan basis, which is exactly what the American people need and want to see.
That's right. As long as we're taking care of our first responders, our healthcare professionals. I've been listening to the leaders of hospitals up and down my state, my governor, John Carney, and his emergency management director. And we still have some serious shortfalls across the country and certainly here in Delaware in terms of resources and preparedness on the health side. I've also heard from lots of friends who run small businesses or small nonprofits who are struggling to connect with banks and to get loans. We need more resources on both sides. That's the best way for us to move forward, Steve.
No doubt about it. There's a lot of problems, some hot spots business-wise that have to be addressed, and let's hope that the Senate is able to do that. Chris Coons joining us today from Wilmington, Delaware. Senator, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.